another element I don't think people take into consideration, especially when it comes to, reform and everything like that, is the environment that we're put into at such a young age. The majority of us are coming home, and you have so many people in society that have that, why should I care about prison? Why should I care about how prisoners are treated? The reason you should care is we are coming home, and we are going to
Yep.
have all of these emotions and experiences bottled up inside of us to a point that if we don't get the correct help and rehabilitation, we will explode. And that will cause you to become a victim. That same person that doesn't care now finds themselves going to court because they've been victimized by a kid that got out after having a broomstick shoved inside of him. And you know what I mean? Like, the only thing you get when you get out of Florida State Prison is a bus pass and a $50 card. They don't tell you the nearest therapist you can speak to. They don't tell you anything. All you have to do is just give them any address. They release you to that address, $50 and a bus pass. And you have kids that genuinely come from good homes, wanted to do good things in life. He might have crashed a car at the high school prom and killed his best friend. He's doing 10, and when he gets out, he doesn't know how to deal with it because of how violent he's become. And that's something I wanted to ask you, just because I struggle with this to this day, is how do you deal with society and being able to have enough self-control that you don't lash out how you were once expected to when being disrespected or anything like that?
Well, as you know, it's almost been nine years since I've been out, and so I've been out for a little longer than you. But so it's kind of, my mentality's changed somewhat. But when I first came home, I mean, I almost got into multiple incidences that would have sent me back to prison easily. A couple of them actually went hands on, and luckily it just, nothing came about it, and the cops didn't show up, and nobody called the cops. But it's hard, bro, because the lack of respect that you're used to having in there, and then coming out to the little respect people have for other people in the world out here is just, it's sad. From the way they drive, from the way they talk to you, from the way they look at you, from the way they treat you. I mean, automatically, they think because, you came from prison or whatever, you're just some ignorant chump that don't know nothing, that, isn't educated, that, can't do nothing. Automatically they see the tattoos and they think, oh, this guy's going to hurt me or whatever. And it was it's still hard to this day. I mean, I deal with it every day, but it's gotten somewhat easier. I mean, I had nightmares, and, I mean, like I talked about in other videos, I've hit my wife a couple times in my sleep, you know what I mean? Swinging, and, right before I left, I watched my buddy, he hung himself, and, they wheeled him by my cell, and they didn't cover him or anything with a sheet. I still got his face, burned into my brain, bro, when they wheeled him by. And so, it's been a struggle, bro, because, your first instinct is, just to, jump, bro, you know what I mean? And, I like knives. I like to carry knives, and, and I always have a knife on me, bro. It's legal now that I'm not on parole and stuff. But, I've always been one to grab a knife real quick. And when I first came home, it was hard, bro, just to not react on my feelings, and the lack of respect. And, yeah, it's a challenge, man. And, for anybody coming home, it's going to be hard, like TK, I can only imagine what he's going through right now. You know what I mean? And I know it's hard for him. Anybody, coming out of that type of environment, it's going to be difficult, man. And, it's just, it takes time, you know, it takes time to just process things and learn how to deal with them in a different manner. You know, how I deal with it now is I just expect it. I've come to just expect it. So it's not a surprise anymore. Like, you know, I expect somebody to be an idiot. I expect them to drive like an idiot. I expect them to talk like an idiot. I expect them to, you know, bump into me like an idiot. You know what I mean? And then when it happens, it's not, you know, I don't jump and react right off rip. I just expect it. So it's not a surprise anymore. And you just got to find whatever works for you to deal with it, you know. Working out, you know, all that stuff that we used to do in there to try and, you know, clear our head from the negativity. Same thing out here, you know, it works out here too. But yeah, it's a difficult transition, that's for sure. And same thing with California, you know, they give you a bus ticket and they give you $200 gate money instead of $50. But same thing, they don't give you any resources. You know, they don't have any I mean, at least when I was in there, like I said, it's been 9 years, so things may have changed, but they didn't have like transitioning, you know, programs or anything like that. You know, you just had to get out and just do what you got to do, man. So if you didn't have anybody, or, you know, you didn't have a place to go, you know, I mean, usually you're going to end up going back, you know, because $200 don't go very far this day, you know, this day and age. And you know, you gotta get your food and your bread somehow, man.
Yeah. With you know, with TK, the reason I've been in his chest so much about getting into these videos is I knew what type of kid he was on those compounds. And I don't care what anybody says. You know, I had people in my organization that didn't like TK, and they couldn't tell me anything about him. If I seen TK go to war, I'm going to war with TK. Regardless, he was just, I know he would do the same for me. And I was always worried about him getting out. And I see these YouTube videos of all these like protests, and you got, you know, this wing, that wing, you got these kids that stand for this and everybody's rights, and then you got these guys that stand for something else. And, you know, they clash in public and at like city halls and stuff like that. They might fight. You know, I think at one, like, people got hit by a car. But my worry for TK was people would look at his tattoos and feel that they could try him, how they try people at City Hall. And the difference between TK and them is TK will kill something. TK will take it there quickly. And that's why I'm so in his chest about, let me show you how many people are willing to listen to you, respect you, and support you for everything that you've already done. You don't even need to do anything else. Just what you've done alone is enough that you can stand on that and you can put your feet up at this point. You know what I mean? And it's like you said, bro, I feel that in society, I felt like a superstar inside of prison. Everyone knew who I was. I had respect from damn near everyone. And if they didn't respect me, they never disrespected me. And that was key. You know what I mean? They didn't have to like me, but they didn't go out of their way to say anything crazy. And in society, you know, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I feel that people don't respect fear. It isn't me or it isn't you. It's the repercussion. Versus when you're in prison and you see what happens when someone gets left on the yard, you know you're not going to talk out of bounds because you know what comes with it. But versus out here, they can say F you and then raise their hand and go tell the police that you're chasing them down. You know what I mean? And people just don't have that same respect level because they don't have an appreciation for life. They haven't seen it get taken so quickly over the pettiest things, over honey buns and soups. One thing that was tough for me is in the state of Florida, once you turn 18 years old, before the Parkland shooting at the school, when you turn 18, you could legally buy a shotgun or a rifle. You could buy any capacity magazine. You didn't need a gun license. You didn't need to register that gun in your name. You just needed to have a state ID. So you got 18-year-olds with rifles. You know, you take a SKS, it shoots the same round as an AK-47. You put a drum in it, now you got 50 rounds in an SKS, and you got 18-year-olds with these. So if an 18-year-old can get access to that, we were getting access to that at 14, 15, 16. You know what I mean? We had insane guns. And the gun that I was caught with, high capacity, had a laser, everything. And those aren't even additional charges in the state of Florida. But everyone had guns. And in prison, everyone had a knife. How difficult was it for you transitioning into society, knowing that you can't arm yourself to the same extent as everyone else? Because the reason I always kept something on me is because I expected everyone around me to have something on them. And I always wanted to make sure that it was equal. If you come at me, I got something I can come at you with, and the best man wins. How was that for you dealing with that?
It drives me nuts, man. You know, California's got some really strict gun laws. And, you know, before I went to prison, I never went anywhere without a gun. You know, I mean, of course it was hot, but, you know, I always had a burner on me. And I was like that from the age of 15. You know, I had a burner on me, and I was always known to have a pistol on me. And when I came home, you know, this is my domain, you know what I mean? This is my home. I got my wife, I got, you know, our kids that come over here, you know, my animals, my property, you know what I mean? So naturally, I want to be able to defend my property. And it sucks because I can never own a firearm again in California, or I don't think anywhere in the nation you can own one as a felon. I mean, there's ways to go about it, you know what I mean? My wife can own a gun, you know what I mean? I just really can't have access to it. But, you know, it sucks, man. It drives me nuts, you know. It drives me nuts not being able to own a gun legally and be able, you know, they want me to pay taxes. They want me to conduct myself as a, you know, a reestablished citizen in the community. But I can't protect my family like one, and, you know, so. Yeah, that's something that I deal with all the time. I'm always complaining to my wife about it. You know what I mean? It's a gripe that I often, you know, express. And yes, but yeah, that's crazy, man. Florida's real lax on their gun laws. They've always been that way.
Yeah, Florida, you can, you know, if you take a Glock and put a drum in it, there's no extra time. You're just gonna get hit with a gun charge. And what's crazy is, you know, carrying a concealed firearm, one of the 4 felonies I was originally convicted on, it's a 3rd-degree felony. It's punishable by up to 5 years. If it's your first time, you might do 6 months in the county and then cop out to some probation time. Like, it's really not taken serious having guns. If you shoot a gun off in the air, discharging a firearm in public is a misdemeanor. So on the 4th of July, everybody's busting guns off, you know what I mean? In every neighborhood, white neighborhoods, black neighborhoods. And because it's a misdemeanor, the police will just be like, hey, you know, if anything, aim at the ground, because bullets go up and they come back down. But other than that, nobody's really tripping. And it's like you said, you know, we come out and we're expected to be not even just regular citizens, but role model citizens. We have to walk a fine line because we already have that past. And that's another thing that I believe in, you know, that I'm not sure if it's true. I've heard it. I never looked at the statistic myself, but they say people that do time for serious violent offenses like murder that have done excessive amounts of time generally don't go back when they're released. And I feel that a lot of people that are introduced to that level of violence realize they don't want to have a part of it. They don't want to be in this society anymore. But I hate the fact that I can't teach my daughter personally how to defend herself. I hate that fact. I think that everybody should take it upon themselves to defend their own, defend their home, and teach defense to everyone around them, because it's the same thing. When you go to prison, you're by yourself, and if you don't know what to do, it's not going to work out for you. I don't believe in the whole victim mentality. I'm going to call the police if something happens. That's not how it works. When it goes down, you are that line of defense for your family. And I heard that Texas has a law that a felon can only possess a firearm within their household. But because it's federally illegal, federal law override state law. And it's insane how every state is so divided and that our federal laws are so different from each individual state. It's almost like prison politics, bro. It's just like it's a different world. And then all of a sudden you have the federal politics that overplay the state politics, and it's wild. It's almost like no one has their shit together, and everyone's just expected to deal with it.
Yeah, in California, if you say you're a felon and you get busted with a pistol, it's 10 years off the top. If you use that pistol in the commission of a crime, no, if it's loaded, okay, if you get busted with a pistol and you're a felon and it's not loaded, it's 10 years off the top. If you get busted with a pistol and you're a felon and it's loaded, it's 15 years off the top. If you get busted with a pistol and you use it in the commission of crime, it's 20 to 25 to life.
That's crazy. We have the 1020 life in Florida, where it doesn't even matter if you're a felon. If I walk up to you and I say, you know, empty your pockets, and I'm attempting to rob you, if I produce a gun at that point in the commission of a felony, which would be the robbery, it's 10 years. The gun goes off, it's 20. And I believe all you have to do is hit someone and it's life. And they're crazy laws. They're crazy, crazy laws. You know, there was a case of a black woman in Florida that was being abused, like a domestic case, and she shot a gun off in the air as a warning and was given 20 years. And it's like, crazy. It's insane. But one thing that I wanted to ask you is, with these level prisons, you know, we don't have levels. And this is another thing that people need to be made aware of, that are able to, you know, help these situations with the prisons. We don't have leveled prisons. We have custody levels. So when you have maxed custody in the state of Florida means you're on death row. If you have closed custody, that means you need to be kept within an armed perimeter. And then you have, you know, high custody, medium custody, low, and then you have community where you can go outside of the gate on work squads and stuff like that. But our main compounds, you have multiple custody levels in different dorms. So when I went into, I was closed custody because I got a disciplinary report for assault on an inmate and possession of a weapon. If you stab someone, if you cut someone, if you hit them with a lock in the state of Florida, you get hit with assault on an inmate. It's punishable by 60 days in confinement. You can go CM, which is closed management, which I guess would be like the SHU for you guys, where they basically put you in confinement for a certain amount of time. Like you have to do a year in confinement. And then if you don't get in any trouble, you can go back to a compound. If you're on CM1, you have to do like 3 years in confinement. And then you go to CM2, you got to do another year. Then you go CM3, you got to do another 6 months without getting in trouble. And that's mainly for people that are excessively violent, have stabbed COs, things like that. You have to do years without getting in trouble just to get back onto a compound. But I was housed with life sentences, people that just got off death row. The majority of my last dorm had life. Is it like that in Cali? Because by the time I was in this dorm, I had nothing but a year left. But the majority of my whole dorm was life sentences. And we have open bay dorms where it's just bunk beds, and everybody in here is closed custody. Everyone in here has life. Like you got a guy that'll have 2 life sentences next to a guy that's going home in 30 days. Is it also like that, or do they divide the inmates?
No, it's like that in California too. You know, your level, so based on your crime, you initially get a certain amount of points. And then for any type of infraction that you get in trouble in the institution for, you get more points and your level will go up. So like I said, I started out level 3 and went straight to level 4 6 months later, and I never left level 4. But like even on like level 2 yards, they have lifers that have done good and dropped down, their points dropped down. When I paroled, my cellie was a lifer. You know what I mean? So he had a life without. So it's the same thing. It's just, you know, the only thing the level classification is basically you know, if you're messing up in there and if you're putting in a lot of work and stuff like that, that's pretty much where that comes into play. Lifers can go all the way down to level 2. They just can't go to any institution that doesn't have an electric kill fence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now that's another thing too. Like level 1s are outside the electrical kill fence. Level 2s, 3s, and 4s all have to be within the electric kill fence. So like you'll have level 1 yards. So like you'll have like a level 4 prison. All the yards will be level 4, but you'll have a level 1 yard that's outside of the electric fence. And they do a lot of like the groundskeeping and stuff like that, stuff that needs to be done outside of the electric fence that, you know, we obviously can't do because we can't go outside that fence. And, you know, it'll go, you got one barbed wire fence, you know, one fence with barbed wire, and then in between that and another barbed wire fence is your electrified death fence. And if you even get within a certain amount of feet, it'll kill you.
That's crazy. I remember at Lancaster, which was the youth offender prison, it had some type of electrical system. I don't know if it actually shocked you or if it was just a sensor to tell where exactly someone was escaping from. Like it would react to pressure. But on our side of the fence, we had rows of razor wire that would, you know, you'd have like 2 rows and another row, and it would go pretty high up. And I've seen kids get grabbed by other inmates and thrown into the razor wire, and they'll just be stuck in there dangling, you know, stuck to all the razor wire. But that's crazy. Just to have that another element. Not only do we got all these COs with guns everywhere, but you touch the fence, you're done too.
Yeah, it's hard to, I mean, it's to escape out of a California prison. I mean, yeah, the only way you're going to get out of a California prison is if maybe if you have like, you know, somebody in your pocket that works there. But even then, I don't even see how it would happen, honestly, you know.
There was a kid that escaped from Lancaster. There's another YouTube channel, guy from Florida, Bounce Back B. He escaped from Lake Butler, which was the most demonic place that I've ever been to in my life, in Florida State Prison. That's where I got my face cut open at. That's where the COs beat me. They beat me bad there. I've been beaten at every compound I hit except for the adult, but they got me bad there. And, you know, I remember when I first went to prison at Sumter, the COs were like, "We hope you escape." You know, how the Florida prisons work is pretty much the whole compound, everyone employed is related. Or if they're not related, they're neighbors. You know what I mean? And when someone escapes in Florida, literally everybody's getting their dogs and trucks and shotguns, and they go out in the woods and they look for you. And they pretty much always find you dead because they're not going to let you live, obviously. They can say whatever they want when y'all are in the woods together, you know what I mean? But they always told us they look forward to it. You know, it'll give them something to do. They used to tell us to escape on a Friday or a Saturday night. So they got something to look forward to on the weekend. And it's just crazy hearing things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I mean, speaking on that too, like that's kind of how California prisons are too, because they're in such rural areas that most of the people that work there, they all live in like pretty much the same city that's close by. And a lot of people, you'll see a lot of them that are related and, you know, have family members that are in there and, you know, that work there too. And yeah, it's a trip. It's a trip how, you know, usually in a rural area, and then there's like a small community or a city that's close by that, you know, pretty much everybody lives at, and that's where they you know, commute to work from. So it sounds like but I know what you mean though. Yeah, them guys out there in Florida, man, they got them little them hunting dogs and the hound dogs and yeah, old country folk out there.
real
crazy.
Country.
That's crazy, man.
We had there was a CO at Lancaster. He had some rank to him too. He ended up getting fired, but he had KKK tattooed on the back of his neck in red letters. And on his keychain, it had a noose with a raccoon at the end of the keychain. And I mean, these were real serious people, you know what I mean? And they definitely didn't like me, knowing who I was affiliated with. That made me a huge target to the COs, but it was wild dealing with that. And, you know, I have a lot of respect for you and your story. I have a lot of respect for how you carry yourself. If me and you were inside of a California prison, would I be able to express that respect to you, or would it be just a no communication policy between us?
No, you can communicate. You can communicate. Like, you know, I used to know a lot of brothers that I communicated with. You know what I mean? And we even did business on the download. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, you got to do it on a DL because it's, you know, it's frowned upon. But pretty much everybody did that, though. I mean, it's you know, it's just like I said, it was done on the download. But yeah, no, you can communicate. It ain't like that, man. Unless like it's war and it's on that level.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I used to talk to brothers all the time, man. And yeah, we could totally, you know, chop it up. I mean, it's not like, you know, now I can't go sit on your side of the day room and hang out. You know, that would be frowned upon. Same like, you know, you wouldn't be able to come on my side of the day room and hang out just because that's just the way the politics are. But like if we're on the yard, you know, we can sit down and talk to each other and, you know, walk a lap and, you know, and talk and, you know, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not that crazy intense that, you know, you can't communicate. And, because I mean, you think about it, you know, they got school and stuff like that. They got jobs, you know, that you got to work, you know, with each other in. And I mean, so of course you got to be able to communicate like men, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, and, you know, but when I was younger, man, like I said, when I was younger, when I was like 14, 15, you know, I was a tag banger and I had friends that were black, bro. You know what I mean? And then when I got older, when I like hit 16, 17, I started hanging around with all the like, you know, the Peckerwoods in the San Fernando Valley. And a lot of them were cooks and, you know, had their hands in the meth industry and stuff at that time. And, you know, that's I got real involved in all that. So before I went to prison, I was already kind of heavily involved in that situation there. But when I was like young, like 14 and 15, man, I was hitting up on walls and everything, man. And, you know, and that was my gig. And, you know, but, yeah, I mean, yeah, you can communicate like that and talk and stuff like that. It's not like on that level where you can't communicate and talk.
Yeah, I had a lot of people wouldn't guess this, but TK was, you know, one of the top guys of his organization pretty much anywhere he touched down on. A lot of people wouldn't assume that based on his size and everything, but because of his rap sheet and the amount of work that this kid has put in, that's usually how it goes. And, you know, anything that's under a swastika banner goes under Unforgiven inside of Florida State Prison. Nothing else is sanctioned in Florida State Prison. And the dorm that I was in at Appalachia at the adult compound, there was a guy in there. He was from Tampa. He was a cool dude. And he used to call me his nephew. You know what I mean? Like he liked me. He respected me. He respected the fact that I stood on everything that I was, and I was also accepted by my people, but he was American Nazi, you know, and there was no issues with us communicating. And I love to educate myself from all perspectives and to have understanding of things that aren't necessarily in my beliefs. And, you know, I used to sit down with him and go over a lot of things, go over, you know, his beliefs, why he believes in what he believes in. And not everything I agreed with, but it was respect. You know what I mean? And he ended up killing somebody in front of the COs, in front of everybody, unexpectedly. I didn't know it was gonna happen. You know, I was hanging out with him the day before, and the very next day, you know, Senate gate, literally in front of everyone. I mean, there was multiple. This is in the early morning when everyone lines up and school goes to school. The workers go on the work squads. So everyone is here. The teachers are here. The work squad is here. And he killed dude in front of everyone. You know what I mean? And he specifically did that to prove a point. And he put it in his neck. He twisted it. He pulled it out. He dropped the knife. He put his hands up. He laid down on the floor. And he told the CEOs, you know, I did what I had to do. The very first nurse that was there, the nurse ran away. She started screaming. She quit her job that day. The male CEO that was there was freaking out, yelling at everyone. You know, this dude's on the ground choking. And the female CEO that was there, I never in my life saw her disrespect one inmate. She was a sweetheart, you know what I mean? She's an older lady, but treated everyone with respect, no matter race, anything. And she actually ran up and put her hands without gloves on his neck and tried to save his life, you know what I mean? But he still ended up dying right there. He got convicted on that murder and caught even more time. And I feel that, you know, we used to talk, and he used to tell me he doesn't know what to expect when he goes home, almost to a point that he didn't really want to go home. And also, he was supposed to be on psych medication. And the Florida Department of Corrections refused to ship him to the prison that actually had that medication. They refused. And he was, you know, trying to get this medication for years. And, you know, I don't know if that medication would have made a difference on his decision-making, on what happened with what happened, but he got sentenced again. And, you know, in Florida, we don't have parole. When you get life, you have to die. There's no such thing as parole in Florida. And he didn't, I think he got like another 25 or another 20 or something like that. But it's just crazy, bro. Like seeing people that are about to go home and that they just feel that they can't go home and that they won't be able to fit in when they do go home. And, you know, that's why I try to ask everyone that I can, you know, that's been out longer than me, what do you do to adjust? Because this is all information I can pass on to people like TK, and I can pass on to some of the other people that's been on my show just to keep them from crashing out. And at the same time, I hope that there's a way that eventually we're able to reach out to people on the inside that are going to come home and that do have long sentences, and we're somewhat able to help them see the light at the end of the tunnel so that they don't do something crazy like that and prevent themselves going home. But one thing that was crazy, even though he's American Nazi, is his daughter's a white Crip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. His daughter's a white Crip. And, you know, he knows, and it is what it is. But it's just it's a sad story, bro. But
it sounds like he didn't want to go home, brother.
That's what I'm saying. And, you know, he used to always give me advice. And I think that, I don't know, like sometimes I feel like anytime I was around people that had time like that, the majority of my brothers all had time like that, I wouldn't speak on going home because I wouldn't want to make them feel some type of way. Just out of respect, I wouldn't talk about it. Just tell me do the right thing when I get out. Surround myself with the right people. And I don't think he's gonna make it home, bro, because he was about 45 when I met him, you know, and that was 2015. And I mean, what he did, it's all over the news. You know what I mean? That's another news article right there. It's all public information. The whole thing is written out, but it's just tough. You know what I mean? It's tough meeting people like that can have an impact on your life, a positive impact, but then not being able to help them the same way. And that's why I'm big on not just making a YouTube channel on, you know, how to make ramen noodles and bricks and stuff like that, but actually spitting some type of positivity, something that can help somebody get through a situation. And, you know, just talking about it, just like how we are now, it's almost like therapy to me. I can't, I don't like traditional therapy. I don't like people that I can't relate to. But, you know, someone like you, especially someone that I know I can learn from, I have that. I want to learn. I want to understand. I want to educate. And then I also want to educate others, you know?
That's a good thing, man. You know, that's one thing about, you know, since I started this channel, you know, and I'm nowhere, you know, close to the numbers that you are, but the people that I have on my channel, and the comments and the feedback that I get is just mind blowing, bro. And it humbles me to a point where, I mean, I've gotten choking up a couple times reading some of these comments on my IG account, you know, private messages and stuff. And, you know, people expressing, man, how, you know, they got 10 years clean, and, you know, they almost went out and got loaded, but, you know, watching my video, you know, gave them the strength to carry on for another day. You know, I've had people tell me that they rewatch my videos over and over again. You know, there's one guy that tells me he always listens to them while he's at work, you know, and, you know, that's awesome that we're able to touch people in a way to, you know, have a positive impact on their lives. And that's what it's all about, bro. You know, we've been through hell and back, bro. We've experienced, you know, some stuff that, you know, hopefully a lot of people will never have to experience, and most people don't. You know, there's something about watching somebody laying on the ground next to you with blood bubbles blowing out of their lung, you know, about to die, you know, and just seeing that savagery and having to partake in that savagery, and then, you know, coming home and making it out of that environment and changing your life for the better, you know, it changes something within you. And it just, I have this strong desire. I've had it for a long time. I've expressed it to my wife. I wanted to start a YouTube channel like 5-6 years ago, bro, because I wanted to try and help people, man. And, you know, it just so happens, shout out to Death and, you know, Lockdown 23-1, you know, Josh, he's, you know, good people, man. And, you know, he gave us both the opportunity to come on there and share our experiences, and, you know, good things have came out of that. And it's a powerful thing to be able to share your experiences and the crap you went through and had to endure, and know that it's actually having a positive effect on somebody else in their life is cool, man.
I definitely agree. It blew my mind, you know. To be honest, I never had the intentions on creating a channel. I never did. When I did time in a psych cell, I went psych when I was 18 at Sumter CI. And when you go psych, when you're in a psych cell and you're in like the turtle suit or the suicide skirt or whatever, you're only supposed to do, I think, a max 7 days. And it's an emergency that you go to a psych facility. But the time I went psych was in the summer, and the whole state of Florida was on a psych lockdown because of how many people went psych. So I was actually in that psych cell for 21 days by myself, having to eat with my hands, no contact with really anybody. And I went through it, but I went through it voluntarily. I went psych on my own means. You know, I wasn't actually going to kill myself. I was trying to go down to Miami where all the nurses look a little bit better than where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't nothing too crazy. But while inside of that cell, you know, I thought when I go home, I just want to make videos. I want to make videos doing graffiti and, you know, partying and hanging out and just craziness, getting money, clubs. And I never pictured me being in the videos. I more or less pictured me recording all my friends. And
Right.
I was watching Death's channel, and I seen a kid that said he was a former of my organization. And, you know, it's not like I'm trying to step down or anything like that, but I heard him say he was no longer a part of it, but at the same time, he's still talking with the lingo, specific words. And it's like, if you're not in it, leave it all in the past. But if you're still talking like that, it's like you're wearing that shirt when it's convenient to you. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that was the original reason I reached out. I was like, you know what? Let me come on since I'm white and he's white, and let me show you how I feel we're supposed to present ourselves, because I don't think he did it correctly. And I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was mad nervous. I was ready probably an hour and a half before me and Death were gonna record anything. I'm just sitting in the room like, do I really want to do this? Do I not want to do this? You know what I mean? Like, I'm about to back out of it. I'm about to just not go through with it. The call went through, and I just started talking. You know, I didn't really know how to, like, if I wanted to just do the whole question thing. I was just like, let me just try to spit my story out real quick. And it's the amount of support that I received. When I started getting messages from Australia and South Africa and different parts of Europe, Mexico, Canada, all different cities in the US, and everything was just support, I was like, I have to do this at this point. I'd be a fool not to take advantage of this, you know what I mean? Of starting my own channel, creating my own platform. And the second I saw it was progressing, I knew I got to bring everybody with me. Everybody that I did time with, everybody that's come home, everybody that's coming home. I've let so many people know that's still in prison, like, look, this is what I have going on right now. This is how many people are dedicated to listening to me speak. This is how many people are waiting for you to come home. They already know your name. They already know your story. And this is giving them such excitement inside of prison, knowing that I have a platform to bring them home to, you know what I mean? And immediately they can get into this form of therapy. They can get into, like TK. I stayed on TK. I actually tried to get TK on Death's channel. That was the original plan. And I don't know if, you know, a couple of times it was just more or less a time thing. The timing wasn't right. The technology wasn't right. I don't know if he was ever overwhelmed by how big Death's audience is, or if he was just more comfortable personally knowing me. And as time went by, you know, Death kind of got out of the state of Florida and started expanding into other states. And I finally got TK to come on. And I swear that support has, I know for a fact it's helping him. I know it for a fact. It's definitely made a huge impact on him.
Yeah, I can see it in just his comments and stuff on his IG, you know, that it's having a positive effect, you know. And that's awesome, bro, that you know, my cousin's about to get out next month, bro, and I'm probably gonna let him come live here. And you know, I wanna see him get his feet on the ground and get his life together, bro. And I actually met him. I didn't even know he was my blood cousin. I met him in prison. He's from my hometown, from the San Fernando Valley, and we were hanging out on the yard and everything together. And then one day we were in the medical tank together, and they called his last name. And I'm like, hey, I got, you know, my dad's last name is, you know, the same. And he's like, yeah, I got, you know, my dad, and I got, you know, family in you know, this state. And he's like, yeah, me too, man. And we got to talking, and come to find out, man, you know, his dad was my dad's brother. And I called home, and, you know, to my pop, and I verified it and everything. And I didn't even meet my dad until getting any type of relationship with him until after I was already in prison. But you know, verified it, and you know, he ended up, I moved him in my cell like 3 or 4 days later, and he ended up paroling for my cell. And he's been in and out since, you know, I've been home, and a couple times, and he just got done doing a 7-year bit. So you know, I'm trying to reel him in. And you know, one thing I did, bro, when I came home is I cut ties with pretty much everything and everyone, bro. I kind of just did the whole family thing. And you know, I met my wife shortly after I paroled. And you know, I just really took that real serious. And you know, I started working, you know, a couple days after I got out. And you know, I've just been grinding ever since. And But I do got one guy that I'm real close with, I did time with, and he actually just got out after doing 29 years. He had a life sentence. And the parole board actually decided to let him out after 29 years, bro. So I'm going to have him on soon, and he's got a powerful message, bro. And that, like you were talking about earlier, people doing a lot of time, they get out, they don't go back. As if somebody that only does like a year, they get out, they go back. But, you know, he's already working. He's got his truck. He's got, you know, a good job. He's got his own little spot. You know, he's doing amazing. And he's only been out a year and a half. And he lost his mom the first year he was home.
That's tough.
So, you know, yeah, it's real tough, bro. So I can't wait to get him on, man. But, yeah, you see the powerful impact that it's having on TK. And that's amazing, bro, that, you know, you got this platform to help those people when they get out, that have something positive to kind of fall back on, bro, you know, especially if they don't have anybody in their lives when they get out. You know, and like you said, people want to hear what we got to say, bro.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of live it through us in a sense. And, you know, they want to know what we went through. And a lot of people, it's because they actually genuinely care, bro. You know, and some people just want to know just because they just want to know, you know, about prison and stuff, and they're just curious. But there's a lot of people that actually are fascinated with it and that care, you know what I mean, and admire our strength of enduring such hardship and then coming out and doing good. And there's not many, most people, I don't know about Florida, but the recidivism rate out here in California, I think, is like 92%, you know, go back. You know, it might even be higher.
It's probably the same over here.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not very many people come home and actually, you know, do good and make it, man. It takes a lot of strength, bro.
I feel like, you know, just like you said, how we feel the support, you know, whether you never had a support system before you went to prison and that was part of the reason you went, or, you know, you've done so much time, you've lost your support system. I feel that having that support is what keeps people going out here. You know what I mean? Like, I almost have a sense of commitment now to keep at this, to keep videos coming, to keep doing this, because I have so many people hitting me up in my DMs, you know, on all social media, just steady in my chest, like, hey, we need new videos. We need something new. We need you to keep going. I need you to keep succeeding because it's giving me strength. And it's a new level of commitment. And I hope that TK feels it 100%, that there's kids that are looking to him for strength. And it's just great, bro. And it's great, you know, once a few more of my people come home, and if I'm able to actually be in person with them and show people how it is. I'm going to show y'all that bus ticket and that $50, and that's what they leave you with to make it happen. But, you know, the more of us unite, it speaks volumes just us being on here together. You know what I mean? The fact that we can unite on our past towards progression and helping each other out, we can really create something powerful. And it starts off with things like this. You know what I mean?
I agree. If you just look at, I mean, just from the few people that have been on Dev's channel, I mean, you, me, you know, he had that new guy on that's, you know, a lot of people really taking to him, and he's on a positive trip too, you know what I mean? And, you know, it's, you know, Big Herc, you got, you know, Badger. I mean, you got a lot of people that are, like you said, if we can come together and all just unite and for the same goal of just bringing positivity, you know, to show people that they can make it out here. It is possible. You just got to grind, and you got to, you know, you got to stay steadfast and, you know, remain committed to it, you know, and, you know, in a sense, guide them through it, because they do need to be guided in a way. You know, that's some powerful stuff right there, brother.
Definitely. And I appreciate you, you know, how we definitely just did this right now. Not so much an interview, but just collabing, bro. I definitely wanted to speak to you, especially after the interview and just hearing your story. It's insane. You know what I mean? Like I said, I got a lot of respect for you and a lot of respect for California in general, the politics and how people hold it down. But I don't know what time it is over there. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning over here, though, so I think it might be time we wrap this one up. But I'm definitely interested in doing more with you in the future, if you are. And I definitely like to slide over to California sometime in the future as well.
Hey, brother, I got the same amount of respect for you, brother. And, you know, I see what you've endured and I see what you got going on. And I'm proud of you, man. And, you know, I don't mean to bring up your age, but for your age, you know, you carry yourself in a really mature manner, bro, way beyond your years. And, you know, I got your back, bro. I'm rocking with you 100%. And yeah, I definitely, you know, would love to come and, you know, come back on just to hang out with you, brother. That's it. I mean, not even just to chill and hang out, man. You know, and like I said, I got your back. If you ever need anything, bro, hit me up. And, you know, if I can help in any way, I will. And you are coming out to California, bro. Once things are a little better and money's a little better on our ends, bro, we're going to bring you out here, bro. You're going to hang out.
Definitely. Hey, go ahead and shout out your YouTube channel and your social media for them real quick.
Yeah, you can go ahead and hit me up. My YouTube is Free from Fetters Grove. And, you know, fetters are something that can find you and bind you. And then, you know, naturally a grove of you know, orange trees. So I consider, you know, prison to be a grove of fetters. So Free from Fetters Grove is my YouTube channel. And then my IG account is Joey G 818 SFV. And you guys are more than welcome to hit me up. Come and check out my channel, you know, and hit me up on IG, and I'll definitely get back to you.
Definitely. And I'm also going to have your information tagged in the video as well. But like I said, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you rocking with me. I'm rocking with you the same way. I look forward to the future, bro.
Hey, likewise, brother. You have a good night, bro, and I'll talk to you later.